Hi guys, we are back with the 31 Coupe. I gave it a quick little CLR bath. If some of y'all aren't aware, a good way to, and it all depends on the vehicle, a good way to knock a lot of the surface rust off and actually more times than not find decent paint underneath the surface rust. What you can do is get a CLR, basically this guy here. Get CLR, calcium lime rust. You can I've even seen it done with the Vapo rust and whatnot. Get some Scotch-Brite pads. I try to get the green. I try not to get the red or any of them that are more coarse than that, I guess you'd say. So I get the green ones. You can do it different ratios. I usually just pour this whole little bottle into a 5-gallon bucket and just put just as much water in it, so kind of like a 1-to-1 ratio maybe. A lot of people do 1-to-2 ratio, 1-to-10 ratio, whatnot. I just dump one of these things in and then put like another this jug worth of water, maybe a little bit more. You can wear gloves if you want. Me, it doesn't seem like it messes up my hands, so I don't really do it, but I wanted to see what it would do with the whole vehicle. It's basically like wet sanding. You gotta feel it. You gotta be aware of kind of how thick you're going and stuff like that. It worked pretty good right here. All of this right here looked like the trunk. So I did get some color out of here. You can see here I brought some color back. Started getting down to a little bare metal there, but knocked a lot of the surface rust off. It did wonders on this fender. There was a lot of weird staining. A lot of times when you get vehicles, it's sat under God knows what, and it has just a bunch of weird running staining lines. Old bird crap, just anything. It could have old oil on it, sap, stuff like that. So that's what I like about the CLR, is it will basically knock all that down and give you a nice consistent finish, even if it's not going to work wonders and give you paint back that you don't have, but it will blend in a lot. It will clean it up and get rid of those weird little stains and stuff like that kind of catches people's eyes. The trunk didn't turn out as good as I was hoping with finding color underneath it. It did a little bit in places here, but for the most part, as soon as I hit the surface rust, it took it down to bare metal. So that just tells me at one time, before the surface rust started packing on there, that there really wasn't a whole lot of paint left on this trunk lid anyways. You can see here down that on the bottom it did take some of the surface rust away and get you somewhat of a color. It worked wonders on the gas tank. It actually brought back the blue, and like I said, I don't know how well this is going to show up on this video since it's a sunny day. The worst part of this vehicle, and it's not even really rust through, just the worst part of this vehicle surface rust wise by far, is probably right here on the fender. It looks like to me that this car is possibly halfway underneath a carport or something. The back is just a lot worse than the front. But it's still not rust through. It's still solid metal, and I was starting to scrub it a little bit, and I stopped because it just started getting down to bare metal. It's not like this thing is rusted through or holes or nothing like that. It just doesn't have a whole lot of its paint left. You can see a little bit of paint still here. It's starting to flake, and that's one thing I like about the CLR as well. Like I said, you go as hard as you want or as soft as you want. You kind of pick and choose. But what I like about the CLR is a lot of times, like for instance on this fender, it had a little bit of paint here still. It was spidering real bad, flaking, and as soon as I hit it with that Scotch-Brite, it was gone. Which in something like that, I would prefer it to be gone. It helps blend it. It doesn't catch your eye as much. It takes that little bit of paint off that just makes it look that much worse, and kind of smooths it out and gives it a little bit more uniform of a look, rather than real hard scaly blotches everywhere. So as soon as I got past this and started going towards the front, I eased up on the CLR, and I eased up on the actual Scotch-Brite because there is still paint left here that I'm going to try to you know, wet sand, buff, and see if I can really bring it back. So I didn't want to dig off in there, but you know, as you can see here, there's some staining on the door, just, you know, just random runs that, you know, a chemical or something just didn't agree with the paint. And a lot of times that CLR will knock that stuff off, and it'll knock this little bit of surface rust off here. Now eventually it will come back if you don't treat it and stuff like that, but for the most part it does wonders. Like I said, here the paint's already gone. It's not going to bring you back paint that you don't have. It's just going to smooth it out. It's going to blend it a little bit better so it doesn't have such of a hard line. I would say probably the best part on the CLR on this car by far was that back fender back there, and then also the hood. The hood actually, it brought back color here. The paint was still there the whole time. It just had quite a bit of surface rust on it there. So it did the best on the hood. It actually brought back the blue on the hood to match a little bit better. The hood really wasn't matching a whole lot on top, but it did good there. A lot of these runs are just, they come right off. It needs to be washed with soap and water once you're done after that, because some of the runoff from the CLR and the rust and stuff, if you don't get it all off, it'll show marks. But all that stuff comes off with a normal soap and water wash. But as you can see, it brought back a lot of the blue. It knocked a lot of the grime off. The surface rust isn't as hard. It's not as scaly as it was. It's got kind of a soft touch to it, a soft look to it. And like I said, it gets rid of the inconsistencies that has weird staining from just old bird crap or somebody spraying. For instance, this door had a lot of WD-40 or something on the hinges to help it open. Well, it had stained all of that. So the CLR helped bring all of that paint and get all that crap off of it and bring it back out. So like I said, guys, try CLR. I wouldn't try it on a vehicle that's 95% covered in good paint and just needs a buff and a wax or something like that. I wouldn't try it. But on a vehicle like this, or even worse than this, if you just want to knock down the rust a little bit, the scale, so it's not as rust, like hard, crispy rust look, CLR is the way to go. And also stuff like this, if it's got a little bit of surface rust, you can bring back some of the paint. Like all of this here looked more uniform red like this, but once I knocked it down, you can actually see that there's a little bit of paint left underneath there. Not much, but it does kind of bring the blue around to the back, and you can see that at one time the trunk was blue to match. So that's it there. I'm not gonna worry about CLR and all the little metal brackets and the bumpers and all those little stuff like that, because most of all that stuff's going to come off, and I'm not going to use it. But if you do want to use it, my suggestion is unbolt that stuff, get you a tub full of Evapo Rust or what is it, apple cider vinegar, stuff like that. Hell, you can even do muriatic acid if you want, but the acid, you got to dump it in, dump it out real quick. But the other stuff, you just leave it overnight and bring it out, spray it off, and for the most part, all the surface rust will be gone. You're going to lose a little bit of paint with it, but you know, you can't have your cake and eat it too, right? You know, so. But like I said, I didn't work on anything else. I didn't work on the grill or the bumper brackets or nothing like that. Right now, I just wanted to knock down the paint or the surface rust on the paint, see if I can bring back some of the paint and get it a little bit more uniform. We're going to tear this the car apart and take the body off anyways, but I just wanted to see what I have here, and I'm liking it. I'm liking the patina, and we'll work on it, probably give it a wet sand, a cut and a buff later on once we're done working on it and got the interior and all that kind of stuff. And it'll be, I think it'll look good. I don't think we'll be painting it unless we run into something that is unforeseen for right now. But for right now, there it is. Thank you all for watching this segment of my little episode thing that I'm running with this 31 Chevy. And hopefully, I think the next episode will be us just basically taking everything off that we know we're not going to run. The spare tire holders, the bumpers, the luggage rack in the back, probably take the side hoods off, just different things like that, kind of give it more of a look that we're going for, see what's all there, and we may even take the front fenders off and give us a good look at the frame and the body and stuff like that. So I appreciate y'all watching, and y'all stay tuned, and we'll see y'all later.